All right, we just got a huge update with the Wowcast for Undermined, and I went ahead and did a video reacting to that video, going through the changes that we're going to be getting to tier sets, dungeons, raid previews, drive, things like that. And then immediately afterwards, right as I'm uploading the video, we got about 5 more updates. So here we are with another video going through some of these updates. One of which is the biggest one, and kind of the reason I wanted to do the video, was Season 2 Mythic Plus changes. New and reworked affixes and new achievement for no depletes. No depletes is kind of crazy. So let's see what which keys can't be depleted. So Blizzard has announced new and reworked affixes for Season 2 of Mythic Plus, no depletes with the new achievement, and more. With this wording, this could either mean keystones that are in the range of 2 to 1 or 2 to 11 can no longer deplete, or keystones that are 12 plus can no longer deplete. Okay, let's read it. New account-wide achievement, the War Within Keystone Legends Season 2. Attain a mythic rating of at least 2850, so it's a lot higher than the other achievements, during War Within Season 2. Reward is failing to clear a Mythic Plus dungeon within the timer will no longer reduce the level of your keystones below 12 for this season. So my take is this. I think that any keystone below 12, if you fail after getting this achievement, you will not deplete. And I don't think you'll deplete at 12 either. I think you'll be able to keep doing 12s over and over again, which I think is generally good. I know the higher keys should definitely still get depleted. It's part of the process. But I think if you're doing like a 4, just let it just stay a 4. So I think that's the goal of this, is to make it so that the lower keys, that as you're climbing, you're not being continuously punished in these low keys, both for not timing it and also having to redo the third one below it. Especially with the scaling crests that come with it. The higher key, the more crest, it's going to feel even worse to have to go back to like a 3 or go back to a 5 or go back to a 6, or even if you have an 8 and you're doing gilded and now you fall into a 7 and now you're not getting gilded anymore. So I kind of understand the reasoning behind that. Also, keystone from the weekly vault will not decay below level 12 with this achievement, so you'll always get a minimum of 12. That's good. I think sometimes the climb back keys are kind of pointless. I think that they should always deplete if you have like really high keys, because if you have a really high key and you finish the week with it and you didn't plus it, they're just gonna give you one below. That makes sense. Keystones can still be lowered below 12 by speaking to Lindormi, so you can still manually do it from 12 down. So you can still drop your keystone if you need to drop it for some reason. I don't know. I mean, there's been times we've dropped a 12 to an 11 just to plus 2 it to get to a 13 if the 12 was kind of like an iffy key, like a Grim Patrol or something like that. But more recently, we haven't had to do anything like that with the 12 keys. But I think when you're making that leap from 12 to 13, it's actually still going to be beneficial to be able to drop that 12 key down. And now we've got new affixes, or changed affixes. So unified enemy buffs on Xal'atath's bargain affix with Xal'atath's gift, increasing damage done up to 50% and reducing damage taken up to 100% for 20 seconds on all nearby enemies in combat. Okay, so unified enemy buffs on all Xal'atath bargain affixes with Xal'atath's gift. So this is going to happen on all of them. It seems like anytime this is up, this is what's going to happen. That seems kind of strange. Let's see. New affix, Xal'atath's bargain, Pulsar. While in combat, Xal'atath summons pulsars that orbit players, who replaces Xal'atath's bargain Oblivion in Season 2. What does that do? How do you have to? Oh, I'm assuming it's just like tornadoes, probably in Dragonflight, or storming, where you just had to move away from those. That's not too bad. Storming was always kind of a non-affix. You kind of just worked your way around it. It wasn't too big of a deal. So if it's like that, that's fine. I think Oblivion was one of the worst affixes we had, so definitely a good change. Xal'atath's Guile has been redesigned. Now causes keystones above level 12 to increase health and damage of enemies by 12% per level instead of 10%. That's fine. A little bit of making these keys a little bit harder, which is surprising considering how hard they already are sometimes. All right. Xal'atath's bargain Voidbound has been redesigned. Dark Prayer now has a 15-second cast time and grants all nearby enemies in combat Xal'atath's gift when the cast completes. No longer grants damage reduction while active. Okay. So you just have to kill the thing, and it only gives a gift when it's so Xal'atath's gifts is what works there. So if you let the cast go off, they get 50% increase to damage and 100% damage taken. That's pretty easy. Those things were always kind of died pretty quick. Potency of Xal'atath's gift granted by Dark Prayer is based on the remaining shield percentage on the Void Emissary. So if your Void Emissary has 10% health, then it's not the full 50% and 100%. It's scaled down, so it's probably 10% damage reduction. So as long as you're working down the Void Emissary, it shouldn't really have an issue there. So overall, very good changes. I do like the idea that keys below 12 cannot deplete if that's the way that it's going to work. I don't think keys above 12 should not deplete. I think they definitely should. So I know that the wording here says it can either mean that 2 to 11 can no longer, or keystones that are 12 above can no longer. Doesn't make sense for them to do 12 plus can no longer deplete. So I'm hoping that it's 2 to 11. It's going to make gearing alts a little bit easier. If you have to pug your way up to a decent key, you don't have to worry about doing a 5, doing a 4, doing a 6, doing a 5, doing a 7, doing a 5. Like, you don't have to worry about keep going up and down on these keys. So I think that overall, very, very good changes. And I think that season 2 might be a lot better than season 1. I also like that this is actually a very high level. It kind of makes it so that once you have your 12s, I'm assuming probably all your 12s for the season, then you get that. So it's not going to be for first time climbing, but it'll be for alts, and that's pretty good. All right, now we got some tier set bonuses. Let's go over some tier set bonuses too. So this is the new design of tier sets, is that melee will all have the same 2 set and then different 4 sets. And then range will all have the same 2 set and different 4 sets. Tanks will all have the same 2 set, different 4 set, and the same for healers. Let's just go through and look at some of the ranged ones. The melee ones, we'll go through one of each. So set bonus for augmentation. Your damaging spells have a chance to hit a jackpot, causing upheaval at 100% effectiveness that does not knock enemies up. And casting Breath of Eons always hits a jackpot. Your upheavals have a 100% chance to grant Essence Burst. Eruptions cast with Essence Burst deal 25% damage. It's a really good augmentation evoker set. I think it's just going to kind of work into your rotation where you Eons, you get the jackpot, you get an upheaval chance to get an Essence Burst. I think it's going to be okay. Now let's look for the melee version. Okay, here we go. Frost. Your spells and abilities have a chance to activate a winning streak, increasing the damage of your move, so whatever melee DPS, by 2%, stacking up to 5 times, and Obliterate has a 15% chance to remove winning streak. So your spells and abilities have a chance to grant a stacking buff that increases the damage of a couple of your abilities by 2% or 3%. I guess it's kind of different for each class. Some of these seem to be a little high. It seems to generally be 2 or 1%, or 1% stacking 10 times. Okay, so the numbers are different for each class, but the general feel of this tier set is you use an ability, it has a chance to give you a buff to increase the damage of another ability by a certain percent, stacking, and then that ability that it's increasing the damage of has a chance to wipe away that winning streak. So it's kind of a little RNG. You're not going to be able to play around it. You're just going to play the way you would and hope that you get long winning streaks. So that's kind of cool. I don't hate that. All right, tanks. Each time you take damage, you have a chance to activate Luck of the Draw, causing you to cast one of your defensives for 4 seconds. Your damage done is increased by 15% for 8 seconds after it activates. It's actually not bad for tanks. You just have a random chance to proc a really strong defensive, and then you get a damage bonus afterwards. That's pretty good. I think it's going to be just solid across the board. I was worried that some of these set bonuses were going to be like significantly stronger for certain classes, but the whole, like for tanks specifically, just having a defensive proc into a DPS increase feels kind of the same. I think it's obviously going to benefit classes like Prop Pally a little bit more, just because their damage is already crazy. So having a 15% damage increase is going to be really big for them. But I do like the back and forth of it. It seems pretty fair. Let's see what else we got. Okay, now let's look at the healer one. So for Mistweaver, for example, your healing spells have a chance to apply insurance to their targets that heals them over 15 seconds. Insurance is consumed if any ally drops below 40% health to heal them. But what kind of wording is that? Your healing spells have a chance to apply insurance to their target that heals them over 15 seconds. Insurance is consumed if any. Oh, okay. This is the last part doesn't make any sense. Drops below 40% health to heal them. Oh wait, okay. So what it does is it heals them over 15 seconds, and then if it drops, it just kind of pops the whole heal. So it's kind of like a emergency heal, but you can't use it. It's just a proc. So I guess it kind of feels, meh. It's gonna be like luck. It's more luck of the draw than luck of the draw is. So I'm curious. They're probably gonna need to get reworked a little bit, or tuned around. I think it's gonna be a really weird feel. But overall, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this still. It's part of getting tier was having that excitement of like, what is my tier set going to do? What, is it going to change my abilities? Is it going to change how I play? This really doesn't for any of them. Maybe for like certain classes, I think you might play a little differently, probably more ranged DPS, because a lot of these like Havoc, the melee DPS ones are kind of just your primary abilities. But whereas the caster ones, like this one, your damage spells have a chance to hit jackpot, growing a wild mushroom at nearby enemy's location. So I don't know, you might play a little differently for things like that because you have that guaranteed proc. But generally, I feel like you're just going to be playing like normal, and you're going to have these like backup buffs. So I don't know. The AUG one's pretty good, so I'm not too upset with what I got, but I don't know if I like this being a thing for tier sets moving forward. So we'll see how it goes. Very excited about the season 2 changes. I think these are going to be really great for everybody. Along with the other ones, the crest changes that they had recently, where all the crests, your depletes only give you 4 less, depending on whatever dungeon level you are running. I think those are great. So I think between this change and the changes we've already got, season 2 is shaping up to be a pretty good season. So yeah, until next time, guys, which could be in 10 minutes, depending on if they release more stuff. But until next time, guys, see you later.